said that when you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You made wake up, your spirit wake up, and you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. When we study what we call classical studies, we must know Medew Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some heretic too. We need to know Medew Netcher. So the most achievement in Kemet for me is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.
Tim Hotep, peace. Hope everyone is doing well this late Sunday evening, early Monday morning, depending on where you are. So welcome in peace. This is your brother Wujau, Mene Bedi Ma'at, and you're tuned into the Sesh channel. And this is just out of the clear blue live stream. Just wanted to fire up just to see who's up, see who wants to hang out late in the evening, and basically catch up. I haven't been on live. I haven't been keeping up with any live streams or me myself going live as often as before. So just wanted to kind of catch up and see what's been going on. And now we have some things going on, outside of the YouTube streets, of course, but in terms of the live streams and everything, been kind of missing in action. So just wanted to catch up and have a basically Kemet and chill, open discussion, Q&A, all of that good stuff. So shout out to everyone who's tuned in, who may be tuned in right now, just kicking things off. Hotep Iniharat Kalfani, Hotep Emikaraku Kinshaya Kinyi, Hotep to Donnie Williams, Neferem Hotep. So yeah, that's all I see in the chat so far. So I put the panel link in the chat early, actually, right when we started. So the panel link is there. It should be pinned to the top. So if you have anything to share or discuss, questions or anything on your mind, feel free to click the link and come on the panel. All right. So yeah, you all can catch me up. So tonight is about discussion and interaction. So I don't have anything much to I don't have anything prepared as far as sharing or giving any presentation, but just wanted to kind of have an open-ended discussion, open mic. So feel free to grab the mic and get some things off your chest, get some things pour out your mind, whatever the case is. Feel free to do that. So tell one, tell all. Come hang out if you're not doing anything. You know, YouTube seems to be the new TV. You know, people don't really watch TV unless watch movies. Netflix, people binge on TV shows and stuff. But outside of that, it's YouTube streets. It is. All right. Brother Zane Montego in the building. Hotep. So you all let me know. So, Donnie, what's been going on? Um, any heard that, Sean? What's been going on? What's the latest and greatest? What is the latest and greatest been going on? What's been going on in the circus community? What's been going on with the entertainment goofy community conversations? All that good stuff. You can't escape commercials, I swear. Oh, don't know what that's about. You talking about YouTube commercials? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Commercials. Yeah, it's commercials everywhere. Um, I don't know. Netflix don't have commercials, but I know like Hulu and I believe Hulu. But if you subscribe to their top tier membership or something, I think you eliminate commercials. Even YouTube. YouTube has a premium, I believe, that you can subscribe to, and then I think they cut out the commercials or the ads or something like that. I'm not too sure. I would imagine. I hope so. If I'm going to subscribe to, the top membership, I'm not trying to click through ads and commercials like that. So, so yeah. But yeah. You all let me know what's been going on if you all are still there. So again, the panel link is in the chat, so feel free to click on that. So far, I'm the sole panelist here, and I want to run my mouth. But hey, I hope you all have been paying attention to the news. I'm sure you have. Um, you know, we've gone through a pandemic with the with COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2 as the virus, and COVID-19 being the disease. We've pretty much been hit with that for the first time in our generations. To go through something like that. I would have never imagined where wearing face masks and things like that would be the new normal, or at least it was the new normal, because I'm seeing so many people who are not wearing masks anymore. But I still would have never imagined us to get to that point where we're wearing masks every day, in public, and it being so normalized, no normal looking, to the point where right now, um, it just feels norm that you don't think anything of it. Whereas before, if you walk anywhere, if you go anywhere and you see somebody with a mask, you immediately think something is wrong. You'd be thrown back by it before, prior, pre-pandemic, obviously. And then, it's for obvious reasons. 'Cause we don't wear them, and somebody's wearing them. That's the oddball. But now that we've gone through the pandemic, and we have gone through the awkwardness of wearing a mask, the conspiracies, the people fighting and pushing back against wearing masks, to people embracing it, creating a fashion out of it, putting designs on masks, putting logos, and things like that, to where we are now, where it's optional. People are wearing them, some people not, many are not actually, and people who are still wearing it, they're wearing fashion ones, or things to match their outfits and things like that. But so we have that going on, and that kind of fizzled out of our attention and conversations. But now we're having this monkeypox case increase in monkeypox, and so we're kind of seeing a small repeat of the conversations in a conspiratorial way, where people, think like, okay, well, the SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19, they're really distractions in the world, to cover up this and that. It's man-made, it escaped from a laboratory, created in a laboratory, whatever. It's targeting people. Remember in the beginning, SARS-CoV-2, at first, it was black people couldn't get it. People who consider themselves black couldn't get it. Then it became, well, it was targeting people who consider themselves black, and all kinds of things. So now we have monkeypox, and people are claiming, okay, there's some kind of cover up. Monkeypox is the new scare tactic. It's the new thing. If it's not one thing, it's another. First it was SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. Since that didn't work, now they doing the monkeypox, and so that's like the new thing. But now here's the big difference, though. Big difference. With SARS-CoV-2 as a virus, the symptoms and the detection is not visible. So obviously viruses are not visible, right? Themselves. But the infection, to be infected by SARS-CoV-2, pretty much went undetected in terms of visibility. Like you couldn't look at somebody and tell they had SARS-CoV-2 until, unless they were hospitalized, and stuff like that, and suffering, having severe side effects from the infection. But in general, you can't tell somebody who has SARS-CoV-2 visibly looking at them. But here's the big difference. With monkeypox, that's a visible situation, just like chickenpox was back in the day. You get these itchy sores and lesions on your skin, all over your skin. It didn't discriminate. Back, arm, leg, face, whatever. Chickenpox. So you can visibly see that. And so it's more in your face. It's more real to people. And so the monkeypox conversation, no matter how great the spread may or may not become, it's not going to have that same kind of conversation as SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19. All right. And I'm sure you all already noticed that. But it's still going to be conspiracy theories and stuff behind it. But the way that people talk about it is going to be very different. Okay. There's a lot of videos out there now showing people who have were infected by monkeypox, and they're showing their skin. That you can see it on the camera. You see it, visibly see it. People that open their mouth, the tongue, the throat, the lesions on their skin, inside their mouths, and things like that. So it's not something to mess with at all. And nobody should want monkeypox. So the conversations will be very, very different. It's not an instance where people are like, hey, I'm not trying to talk about any vaccine or whatever. I'm just going to take these herbs and take these vitamins and minerals and boost up my immune system, and I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. Make sure I exercise, and I'm going to be all good. See, that's different with the monkeypox situation, because even though monkeypox may or may not be deadly in terms of as deadly as SARS-CoV-2 and so on and so forth, but any of these viruses can potentially, on the extreme end, be deadly to vulnerable people. But for the most part, monkeypox, like chickenpox, it takes its course. But see, nobody wants to look bad. Monkeypox makes you look different visibly. You have these sores, you have these lesions on the body, itchy lesions, and they take its course, and And even if or when you recover, they leave these marks and spots like chickenpox did. A lot of people, when I was real young, I remember people having chickenpox, but then it died out. It you don't hear about it anymore. Period. Like it just vanished. But I do remember it though. Ringworms, chickenpox. So still talked about, when I was little. But nobody wants to look. I see we got brother Donnie on the panel. We welcome to brother Donnie. Hotep Donnie, can you hear me?
Yes, Hotep.
Hotep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just welcoming you on the panel. I'm just saying about the different conversations that I'm witnessing and reading and hearing in these discussions that I find myself in sometimes. The difference between monkeypox conversation and the SARS COVID-19 conversations, even though both of those conversations include conspiracy type talk, but it's a lot different. I notice it's a lot different. And so what I'm saying is one of the main obvious differences is with monkeypox, it's a visible thing, and nobody wants to be defaced. Nobody wants their body to look messed up and things like that. And it's visible when somebody else may have it, unlike SARS-CoV-2 infection, where you don't see it unless, somebody just hospitalized or whatever the case is. You don't see an outward symptoms, like you do with monkeypox or any pox. And so that's different. But anyway, I was saying all of that to say that, I was just in opening up, buying time for people to tune in, was, I hope people are being aware, practicing good hygiene, wash your hands, and just protect yourself and be aware, because these diseases out here now in our modern society, you have people who are ignorant of the facts of a lot of these things. And so you have vaccine hesitancy prevalent out there. You have a lot of misinformation, which causes people to make bad choices, and they can put other people in danger. So we're going to see an increase in these cases and diseases. Polio, in fact, has hit the news again. Polio has been, eradicated, basically. And now you have a couple of cases popping up because of the community, the population immunity that keeps these viruses from having any types of outbreaks where we can declare them being eradicated or eliminated, extinguished. But now they
Yeah.
can resurface. But yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just rambling on. So what's going on?
Nothing. I was just gonna say that I guess I thought I saw that they had the vaccine out for that monkeypox or whatever.
Yeah,
Thought
yeah.
I saw it in the news.
Yeah, what's interesting, I would recommend anybody who's listening now, if you want a very short, concise crash course on monkeypox, um, go to YouTube and search Neil deGrasse Tyson monkeypox. Just type that in, and he did a recent show with an epidemiologist, and it was a very nice, concise show. It wasn't long at all. The highlighted bullet points were given and talked about, and it's really good. So I would just recommend people to check that out. And one of the things that she was saying, the epidemiologist was saying, was that with monkey, as far as the vaccine and stuff, she was saying that people who prior to 1971 received smallpox vaccines, and is showing that people who have that vaccine already prior to 1971, if you're older than 1971, born 1971, you have a defense against monkeypox because it's in the pox family, whatever biological name it is, in the pox family. So yeah, but they actually have monkeypox specific injections too. So So anyway, but yeah, um, so that's a good thing to check out. So hopefully people will check that out if you want a short crash course. Hotep, we have Sister Lisa in the house in the building. So what else been going on, Donnie? I'm just rambling, just trying to catch up on the
Yeah,
latest and greatest.
well, I don't know about the latest and greatest because I don't be out there like that, but the mess is out there.
Oh, the
Um,
mess is
but
always gonna be out there.
it's crazy that you decided to start off the conversation with that. I'll say this and just leave it alone. But people was you always get brought up in the YouTube. I don't even like to say YouTube streets, but up in the YouTube, and talking about how you said this and you said that and remember this and but I really didn't want to talk about that too much. It is out
No,
there.
no, no, no. Bring it up. Bring it up.
No, I'm not
That's
gonna be messy, man, because
No, no,
you
no.
already
Listen,
know.
listen, listen, listen. You don't.
I got
You're
to do
not
that
to
for me.
blame.
I got to do it for me, though. I just wanted to kind of just skim over it a little bit and let you know it is out there, and
Well,
I don't want you to think
skim on, because here's the
I don't
thing
want
with
you to
me.
think I'm oblivious to hearing it or something. But that ain't me. You know what it is, and but I wanted to
Well,
say,
listen.
yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
say this. Listen. Um. I'm not naive to people. I study psychology. I study psychology. I've studied psychology. I've taken psychology in school, on a lower level, of course. And I know what time it is and stuff, and I know, um, the ways of how things flow. The wind, whichever way the wind goes, and stuff and things like that. And what I know is that, if, like what you just said, if I'm ever brought up, and people email me, and people DM and inbox me screenshots or something like that if I'm brought up, and I appreciate it. I appreciate when people do that, and whatnot, because I don't have time. I'm not keeping up with stuff, and so when they do that, I appreciate it, so I can at least keep up. And if there's something that accumulates to where I feel I need to have a teaching moment or address anything, then I have that option to do so. So I'm always open for stuff like that. But what I find is that when people do that, and I'm talking about people who bring me up or whatever, or whatever case is, they're wrong. Like, they don't quote me properly. They never play a clip of me saying something, or quote something if it's typed out or written. They'll just misinterpret something, and it happens all the time. 9 out of 10 times it happens to the point where I'm like, man, it's not even worth addressing. And shame on anybody who believes people who say things without showing them anything, that type
Well,
of thing. But then there are instances where I may need to clarify something or make a teaching moment out of it. I use it as an opportunity and leverage it. So I'm just saying that to say, feel free to, if you because I haven't been tuned in, on anything, because I just find a lot of that circus stuff is real goofy and messy,
yeah,
and it's goofy. You got grown people who feel the need to have content all the time, and just be wasting time.
yeah,
You know
and
what I'm
that's why
saying?
I
But
don't. That's why I don't want to do it. But I just want to let you know that it is up out there. But
but give me an example. You said somebody said something.
I can't do
Give
that.
me an
Come
example.
on, Lizelle. I wouldn't feel. I got to. I can't do it, man. But you know what it is? It's the same. It's the same old, same old, like you always heard.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Let's, like, think of one in your head. You ain't got to say it, but think of one in your head. The most recent, or,
Well,
or recent.
I started off with one. I told you about the vaccine thing,
Oh,
and
what did it say about that? What was said about that?
come on, man, you taking me out somewhere. I'm not trying to. I wanted to talk about something else. I
No,
didn't want to be.
I'm trying to figure
I
out
don't.
how would my name? Why would my name come up with the vaccine stuff?
You know just as well as I do.
No, I really don't. I really don't. I don't understand why people would bring my name up with the vaccine stuff. Like, I'm not anti-vaccine or anything like that. So why would my name be brought up on the vaccine?
Yeah, those that listen to you, we know your stance and stuff like that. It's all good. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I've been vaccinated. So what's the? I don't understand what the what why would my name come up? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by goofy. It's silly, stupid. People pretend to know stuff and talk about
Yeah.
things, you know,
Well, you must
and
be doing something right.
you know what I'm saying. I don't get that, but yeah. So you know I don't know. But anyway, see that's the thing. See I'm available. I'm definitely not hard to reach. I mean I know I haven't been going live as often as I can or what I was doing. But whenever I'm live, like just like right now, I always post the panel link. So anybody that have anything to say, they can always come on a panel and deal with it. And I think a lot of people say stuff um, just to add to the entertainment and the content of things. They don't really want to solve or come up with solutions to something or really want to really know things or whatever because they could just ask me.
Yeah,
They could
and
they
that's the
could they
way
could
it should
ask
go.
me at any time. They can ask me
That's
anytime because I
that's
get
why
I
I'm
get
not.
screenshots.
That's
Yeah,
why I'm not getting into it. So,
I got a screenshot. Let me see. Let me show something. This must have
when you get
happened
done, when you
yesterday.
get done with
Bro.
that, I did have two things.
No, go ahead, go ahead. You go ahead. I want to find something. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I'll wait because this seems to be your focus.
Oh no. Well, okay. Well, let me show this then real quick. I'll just go over this. And it's crazy because I see your name. Somebody. Okay, I got a screenshot of a chat, and I'm trying to think if this is from today or yesterday or what. I don't know if it. I don't know when this is from, but it's recent. It's recent, and I
Hmm.
would have to go back. I would have to go back to the original message to see. But I don't want to spend time. But let me share this. I want to share this real quick. And it's crazy because I just now look at it, and your name is in the chat. It says straw man appeal defer never acquiesce. Them dudes you speaking they brought that.
Yeah, that's me.
That's oh, but
Go
I
ahead.
see my name. But see, my name is mentioned, and it's by whoever's name is Hutch. This guy named Hutch, whoever he is, this person never comes on a panel and say something. But he says Asar and Wujau started sounding foolish, claiming experts can't be trusted every time they come up with their own position. So let me share my screen because I don't want people to think I'm making this up. So hold on, let me switch my screen over. Give
Hey,
me 1 second, y'all.
yeah, while you do that, Firelight and Tiz, hit the link and tell me what you mean. And if it's an issue, I'll fix it. But other than that, I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, I'm not paying. I can't see that just now. I'm just trying to switch over. So hopefully people can see this on the screen and move the chat out the way. All right, so just so people, I'm gonna use this as an example, right?
It's a
And it
perfect
and it
example.
and this may be yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This may be an example that fit what you're talking about, Donnie, because it's crazy because your name is at the bottom. So as we can read this, right now, I have no idea what the conversation is about, but this is a YouTube chat, and this must be from yesterday or today or whatever, and I can just read the comments, and I know how chat go. They chat have people in the chat have conversations within themselves, and it may not even be with whatever's being talked about on the video part of it. So I wouldn't know. But this person, whoever Hutch is, I see this person, and I've seen this person in the past, and they always have something to say. So whoever Hutch is, um, they don't confront directly. Like I've dealt with this person Hutch in the chat before, but I don't ever remember them coming on a panel or making themselves available to have a discussion or whatever, and people like him or her, and I'm assuming it's a him, um, will just kind of say things, and it almost feels like just random hateration. But anyway, as you can see, it says Asar and Wujau started sounding foolish, claiming experts can't be trusted every time they come up with their own positions. Now, I'm going to use this as an example because speaking for myself, I have never said experts can't be trusted. I've never said that. And I would dare anybody to quote me saying that, to pull up an audio file or take a screenshot of where I typed that, where I said experts can't be trusted. And they can't. And so this is the problem I have with people, because this happens 9 out of the 10 times. If my name is brought up, people always, 9 out of the 10 times my name is brought up outside of my presence, and even in my presence, they misconstrue stuff. It's a straw man, stupid argument. Because I never say that. And then when I address it, if I'm present, then people get all in their feelings. Their panties get in a bunch and they get mad because they can't handle it. And I think that's why people cower and run, and they don't want to confront me straight up when they say stuff like that, even if it's not a negative thing, because I don't want to make it out to be some confrontational. It don't have to be confrontational at all. But the thing is, people don't come direct, and I don't understand that. I wasn't built that way. You know, I think a lot of people are soft. The hardest people on the street be soft as I don't know what when it comes to the internet and when it comes to intellectual things and scholarship and stuff like that. They be soft and getting their feelings and start crying and whatnot. And so, anyway, I've never said that experts can't be trusted. So the only thing or not only thing, but what I do say about experts, and I'm often quoted saying this all the time, is first of all, an expert, the very word expert, has its roots in experience. So experts are those people who have direct experience in something. And the level of expertise a person has is directly related to how much time or how much experience somebody has over time. So if you have, if two people have the same experience or experience the same thing, person 1 has 3 years of experience and person 2 has 10 years of experience, both being experts. Person 2 will be the greater expert. Why? Because they have the greater experience. They have the greater tenure or number of years or time with that experience. So that's what experts are. An expert is somebody who has experience over time. Anybody can be an expert. Anyone can be an expert. So like, for example, me, I never call myself an expert. No one will ever be able to quote me saying that I'm an expert. No one. Because I do not use that title for myself. Now, other people may have called me an expert and whatnot, but I have never used that term for myself. But if somebody else were to call me an expert, I can understand why they would say that. An expert in, for example, the ancient Egyptian language, because I have 10 years experience teaching it. I have over 10 years experience teaching the ancient Egyptian language, from its writing system, which is Sesh, Medew, Netcher, all the way to Kemet, the language and its grammar, its morphology and syntax, which is what grammar is. I have 10 years doing that. So my 10 years experience in teaching it and dealing with that, people can call me an expert in that, to that degree. Now there's people who have longer tenure in teaching it and dealing with it, which will be on the range of experts, will be my senior or have more expertise in there than me. But not all experts are obviously equal because different people have different times dealing with the different subject matters. So anyway, so I would never say that experts can't be trusted. But this is what everybody should know about experts and anybody. Experts are people. People can make mistakes. People can make bad decisions. People can be wrong. People can miscalculate. People can make mistakes and often do. So the fact that somebody is an expert, or you would call them an expert, does not make them exempt from mistakes. Experts can make mistakes, just like anybody else can make mistakes.
Agreed.
And that's it. I've been saying that.
Yeah, and I even
And
said that. I even said that. But whoever, let me say this too, with y'all real quick. Um, whoever screenshotted that, that's your business. But I never said nobody's name. Y'all see the record. I'm just standing up for what I think is right. I didn't even want to talk about that or anything like that. So, but things have a way of coming to the surface, and y'all see how I
yeah,
played it. So, yeah, that's on the
yeah,
record. But yeah, anyway,
yeah. So I just want to clarify this one. So if anybody, whenever this took place or whatever, see anybody listening to me right now, just understand that I don't run from anything or anybody in these YouTube or whatever. If people claim I say something or whatever the case is, bring it. That's it, because I'm a problem solver. I'm a conflict resolutionist. If I am wrong about anything, or if I have erred in sharing of any information, whatever, I wholeheartedly embrace that if it's pointed out. But what's not going to ever happen is people are going to make up things that I don't say and claim that I say things that I never say, or claim that I'm wrong about something that they don't even understand, that they themselves don't study and can't demonstrate and can't support it. That will not happen. Not on my watch at all. And I think that people understand that, which is why many people will cower and not come and have a conversation with me about something that they may or may not feel that I misspoke on or whatever. But
yeah,
this comment by this person Hutch is just flat out wrong. I never say that. I don't say experts can't be trusted. That doesn't even sound like something
yeah,
that I would say. In fact, I'm on record saying that we are supposed to defer to the experts. We don't appeal to authority. We don't violate the appeal to authority logical fallacy, but instead we defer to experts, because not everybody can be an expert in everything. So we have to lean on other people who have more experience in other areas. I'm on record saying this over and over again. So whoever Hutch is, that's just a straight hater, and I will go to say that these people are just straight up cowards, because I'm not there, and people could run their mouth, and even if I was there, that person would never come up on a panel and have a conversation, because the first thing I ask is, show me where I've said that. And then when they can't, that just ruins the whole thing. It's just a waste of time. So that's that. So I'm like, bring it. Like people don't understand. And nobody worried about stuff. I think it's all goofy. I think it's real goofy. It's childish, goofy. All of it is silly. It's retarded. And a lot of these people are not well educated. They're not. They're just not. I mean, a lot of people didn't do good in school, and that's what people just not saying. Nobody's saying it. They didn't do well in school. Period. They make excuses and stuff like that. And then YouTube has enabled people to just anybody and everybody could just buy some equipment, buy a mixer, buy a mic, get
yeah.
a
They got
get a
they
gaming
got a voice.
chair, get a web camera, get a gaming chair, get a monitor and stuff like that, then voila, you got a podcast thing going on and whatnot, and you just build content and just think of things and go live, twice a day, every day, monetize your channel, and then bam, you in there. That's what people are doing now.
Yeah.
Pretending to be something. People who don't study stuff talk about what they don't study all the time, preoccupied with stuff. Egypt. And
Yeah.
that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing that was said. Another thing that was said was I say something about Egypt or whatever. I don't have that to show, but it was some other stuff. I'm like, yeah, like people gotta quote me. But anyway, so what else? What else, Donnie? I mean, you happen to bring this up, and
No, I didn't bring it up, dude. No, 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 no. I
no,
swear,
you didn't.
I
No, no,
did
no,
touch
no,
on it, but I
you didn't.
didn't. You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
It's
no,
just
you
two
didn't.
different things going on. So let's just
No,
leave
no, I'm
that
saying
alone.
you
It,
didn't.
it played out the way it played out.
I'm saying you didn't bring this up specifically, but I'm saying you brought up something that was along this lines for me to straighten this out.
Yes, I did do that
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah. So, but I don't want you to feel like because it sound like you like
No, I just, you know
being
what I'm
being
saying?
being care being careful not to do something. But I just want to let you know that I don't mind
No, it's all
you
good. I
you
didn't
bringing
do.
up stuff.
Look, I'm on record. So you see me in the chat doing what's right. So I'm standing on that, and I'm gonna just keep that going. So that's what it is with me. Outside of that, then it ain't nothing else.
No,
But
I know, but I'm saying no. From me to you. I just want you to be clear to hear it from me, because to me I hear a little hesitancy with you don't want to like go into any details, and I'm just telling you that I don't mind if you do,
there,
but if you
no,
don't,
I
then
know
that's cool.
that. I'm not like I said, like I started out saying. You already got it, obviously. So it ain't no need for me to tell what's you already. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just leave, just leave it.
Okay,
That's what
but
it
look,
is.
but I'm gonna highlight your comment though real quick,
Yeah.
cause you cause you told this brother
Hmm.
this is the brother's statement, and then you come back, and I'm assuming you're responding to it, uh, and you say I don't remember that, Hutch, and that's the truth,
Hmm.
because I know you don't remember me ever saying that, because I don't say that. I never said that. I never told anybody don't trust experts. I've never said that.
So yeah.
I've never said
No,
that. So
I know you did. I was there. So it's just these games. Like that's why I'm not speaking on it because it's beneath me. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope other people just realize it and just chalk it off as goofy. It's short busism. I think people a lot of people be riding that short bus, and I'm just gonna say it like that. It's a circus community. People ride the short bus. People have these titles and clicks and stuff like that, but it's all just games. It's all fun and games, you know.
I kind of have two little things.
But go ahead, go
Um.
ahead, go ahead. What else you got
Yeah.
going on? I
So
mean,
remember
we
that.
could, we could change subject. We could change subject.
And then I'm gonna get off, but and just listen in. But remember that hieroglyph scene that I posted.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, the last one of y'all came in and knocked it out. Well, somebody came and posted it from a group that's kind of affiliated with the group, so it was nothing but love. But I was like, I commented on it, and I was like, damn, I just posted this. And then the brother came through and talked about it, and yeah, it was cool, but it was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they posted it up on YouTube. But anyway,
Oh, they
putting your
posted on YouTube.
yeah, and putting your translations in there and stuff like. I got his. I can give it to you if you want to see it later, but it was that one,
No, I'm
and
saying
then
what they say about what you mean they just shared it, or what were they saying
yeah, they
about it?
just shared it and just like had the I think they had the. I didn't. You know, how you click on it, you could go like to read more.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that, but I think they kind of. I suspect they might have had the translation in there because the way I was just tripping off. Man, I just did this.
Oh, okay. I
I
mean,
just thought it
what?
was,
Okay,
yeah, it wasn't
okay,
nothing
nice.
negative or nothing like that. Just positive stuff.
Okay, cool,
But
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
When you posted it, I happened to see it and I was like, all right, because I happened to go on Facebook and like just comb through my Facebook and I saw you posted it like at the time it was like 5 minutes ago. You know how Facebook tell you when it's posted at 5 minutes ago. I said, all right, let me knock this out real quick. Let me jump on it real fast so that I could spark something and get everybody charged up, to kind of do these things more often again, kind of
yeah.
kick it off again. So yeah, so I just went ahead and did that.
So then in like the YouTube streets, what I wanted to talk about was I don't know if you was there to see Asar's video with Amboli.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to see that one?
From today?
Yes.
Nope, I have not.
Okay.
But what about it? I mean, you feel me?
No,
And
I was
what's
just wanted
what's
to see your. I was working, so I couldn't really. I was in and out, and then like he kept saying, his interference with his language and stuff that he was having was kind of, um, difficult. Then they had like a translator come through. Somebody from the chat came through, and I guess was supposed to translate for him. But I just was interested on if there was any takeaways from it or what is this book about.
Oh, I could tell you that much. His book. He wrote a book in 2010, published it in 2010. He started in 2000, so it's a results of 10 years of hard work in historical comparative linguistics, and he published the book in 2010, and it's called The Origin of African Languages. And basically it's a textbook. It's a textbook on how to do the historical comparative method. And for his examples of showing how to do the method, he used African languages starting from scratch. So he dispensed with the current categorizations of African languages that we're familiar with, such as Afroasiatic, Khoisan, Niger Congo, Nile Saharan. He dispensed with all those categories and started from scratch, like with a clean slate. And he used the historical comparative method to start to establish relationships between these African languages. So he started off with 6 languages to do the preliminary procedures, and then to verify and to confirm and verify certain aspects of the historical method. He added 8 more languages, so it's a total of 14 languages that he used throughout the book, to go through all the aspects of the historical comparative linguistic method, and the final result is is different than what people are used to by pretty much today's standards, which was not utilizing the historical comparative method. So this is basically the first time that this was done, and because his book is written in French, because he's a native to Shango. Shango is his mother language, and I forgot what country he's from, African country he's from, but he's a French speaker, and he wrote the book in French, and that posed a barrier in terms of the popularity of his book, or the exposure that his book has received from the time it's published until now. And so
Hmm.
that's been a major issue that people bring up, an excuse that people bring up
So
instead of
what
studying. Okay, go ahead.
so let me get in real quick. Do you have the book?
Yes,
Oh, just curious. How many? Is it a big book?
very big. It's over 600.
Okay. Okay.
It's over 600 pages, and it's the dimensions is big. It's not like a 6 by 9 600 page book. It's a big book. So you know how Obenga's African philosophy book is 600 over 600 pages, but his trim size is 6 by 9. And Bowley's, I believe, is 8 by 10, and it's over 600 pages. So it's a huge book. It's no joke. It's an
Wow.
actual college level textbook.
Hmm.
It's a college level textbook, university level textbook. And the beauty of his book is he walks you through the comparative method from start to finish. And so you're actually watching a scientific experiment, hypothesis, experiment, and conclusion unfold right before your very eyes. In the book, he walks you through the whole thing in real time. So, like for example, he'll make assertions, and then he'll test them. And then when you make an assertion, you test it. If something is falsified, you have to change up. And so you see these kind of things in the book. So it's a brilliant, it's a very, very well written good book, but it will go over a lot of people's heads who are not interested in linguistics, even if it was in English. Now with me, I don't speak French, and I didn't take French in school. I took Spanish. And so the challenge for me was to bring it from French into English. So that took me a long time to do that. But now, fortunate for me, I had access to Mboli himself, and he speaks and reads English well enough to communicate. I don't have too much of a problem communicating with him, and things like that. And he made himself available. Asar introduced me to him, and stuff like that, and I've been in contact with him ever since. And so I was fortunate enough to get pointers directly from him, my questions answered directly from him, the author of the book. So I would translate it piece by piece, chapter by chapter into English, and then I would go through and actually try to digest and study the method and procedures and stuff like that. Then any questions, I would go straight to him and ask, and he would, answer him, in due time and stuff like that. So that's my, a summary of my journey with his book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't. Everybody else having these excuses. I don't accept any of those excuses. People like, when is it gonna be put in English? And I'm like, I don't know. But if you haven't read it or you can't read the French, then don't talk about it. Because people try to have something negative to say about the book. I'm like, how can you if you didn't read it, if you didn't study it, if you didn't check it out, if you didn't investigate or probe or try to falsify any claims in there? How can you say anything negative about it?
Yeah,
And,
I
that, and that's
wonder.
and that's what I mean by goofy stuff. Like people out here just goofy, man. But go ahead.
I wonder would it be just as much work on his end to have it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's writing. Obviously, he has a crowd or something that he wants to reach or something. I mean, would it? Is it that much more work to, you know, have a? I guess it is, right? Because obviously he would have did it.
What
Had
you mean? In in
copies
Eng-
printed
in
in
English?
English. You know? Yeah,
Well, see, okay, now that's a good
that's just a
question. People,
question.
no, I'm saying that's a good question. People have asked that in the past, and what people have to understand is that that's up. First of all, the language that you speak and that you deal with on and you gauge with every day is obviously going to be your go-to language. That's what you're going to feel comfortable with, and the language that you can express yourself. You have all the nomenclature, innuendos, idioms, and things like that and you're going to be able to express yourself, very well in whatever language that is. Then it's up to the publishing company too to take that work and then try their best to bring it into another language with all those things intact. Because I'm gonna give you an example. If let's say you take chapter one of Mboli's book, right, and you run it through a translator. Let's say you retyped it in French, or you had the typed text, the digital text version, and you run it through Google Translate or some kind of translator. It's not gonna be the same as if Mboli or as the original or the intent of the message in the original, because that's like a mechanical translation and things like that. So what publishing companies would do is they would have to have somebody who is competent in the source language and target language, but also they have to be competent in the field of study. Like for example, I can't just get any old random Joe Blow who's fluent in French to translate it into English and expect it to be, the top quality. That person would also need to have some competency in linguistics, because it's certain concepts that Mboli is explaining, although it's in French, that a translator would have to also understand those concepts so they can relay it in English and not lose it. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I had an example that I could show real, like off the cuff, but I can't, off the top of my head. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that publishing companies would and invest. It would cost money for all that stuff to happen, and and that's just a call that the publishing companies make, and finances and this and that. And so you have to remember that some people that get that stuff done, they're financed, they're supported, they get backed by universities, especially in linguistics. So for example, you have Christopher Ehret, you had Greenberg at in his day, you have Robert Blinch, you have who else is out there, Chomsky, and these other people like that deal with some aspects of linguistics. We have to understand these people are backed by universities because they either are staff of a university, a professor at a university, or affiliated at a university at some form or fashion, and
Yes.
they get these organizations behind them, and they
Yes.
fund them. And
Hmm.
Boli didn't have that opportunity. And Boli, starting off, didn't have that opportunity. And Boli is not a professor at a university in 2000, year 2000. He's not, he's not backed by
Yeah.
these
He
these
doesn't have the resources that them other people that have access to the universities and so on and so forth.
exactly. So decisions and calls are made based on the real time circumstances. And so when people ask me that in the past, I would say, um, maybe his future book, because I know he's working on a book. I don't know when it's going to be published, but maybe because of this experience, maybe it will be um, published in English as well as French. Maybe because now, see now from 2010 until now, Mboli has made a lot of progress in terms of exposure, because his book is now actually in universities on the continent of Africa. His textbook is in university libraries, and is being actually used by people in the linguistic departments in these various different college and universities now. So maybe his upcoming publication will be treated differently, and so that would be my guess and my hope. You
And
know.
they speak some French. Our people or whatever, they speak that French over there.
Yeah, because a lot of African countries are francophone. They were
Yeah.
colonized by the French. You
Okay.
know, so
Um.
a lot of them speak French. And if hindsight, if I can go back in time, I took Spanish. I had a choice, like most of us did. We had a choice between French and Spanish in grade school, and I chose Spanish because I had no French speaking friends at the time. So my natural thing was, okay, let me study Spanish so I could talk to my friends in Spanish and their families in Spanish. But knowing what I know now, I definitely wish I'd have took taken French, because in scholarship, there's more scholarly works in French in the areas that I gravitate towards, way more in French than it is in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? French and German. If I had it my way again, I would study French and German. Those are the two languages that I would definitely study, French and German, in terms of the areas of my curiosities. French and
Okay.
German. Yep, definitely.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Thanks for letting me come on. But I have one more thing I just kind of wanted to share.
No, go ahead.
Just something should
I'm
be.
not. Listen, I'm not. I'm not. I hope you know I'm not rushing you off. If you gotta go,
No,
that's
it's all
cool.
good. I just want to listen. I don't want to hog up the thing, stuff like that. But somebody might have some different
Hey,
thoughts.
but wait, but hold up, Donnie, man. You been here
I'm
long
not
enough.
running, man.
Ain't
It's just I
nobody.
want to feel.
No, 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 no,
Just,
no, 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 no. I'm saying. You know good and well when you leave, nobody else is gonna come up on this panel.
how you
So go
know?
ahead, but go
You
ahead.
don't know
Watch. Okay.
that.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Go
anyway,
ahead.
well tomorrow, in the YouTube world, right? There's I believe she's from. Don't quote me, but I'm trying my best. Uh, Egyptologist from UCLA, Dr. Kara Cooney. She wrote a book called The Good Kings. I don't know what it's about, but when I asked about it, you know, toot my horn a little bit to my Egyptologist friend, uh, she said it was controversy book, and I asked her, well, why is it controversy? Because she was saying that in her book she relates, the way the kings carried on to some of the things they do today. That was the response I got.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
all I'm saying, they're going to be having a Zoom on it tomorrow, and she's the keynote speaker. Again, it's Dr. Kara Cooney, and her book is called The Good King. So
Okay.
I'll probably try to drop a link in the Facebook group or whatever and whatnot. And if y'all are interested, in do what it do.
Okay, yeah, yeah, do that. Do that. I would appreciate that. I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard it mentioned. Um, so I'll be interested. So that's good. Yep, and I may get the book, but I don't think well, I know I don't have it, but I have heard of it. The Good Kings.
So
Yep. So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
would
So what's
appreciate
up
that.
with the book club?
Yeah, well, okay. I'm glad you asked about that. The book club. We're gonna move on to another book, and I wanted to have a similar book like the first one we did, which was ethnicities in the land of the pharaohs, and I wanted to cover something that's kind of overarching and not really narrow and specific. So I think we're gonna go with I'm gonna post like three books. But I think that and I wish that I wish people had access. I wish there was a Kindle version of Diop. I mean not Diop, but Obenga's African philosophy, because that would have been a good one, or that would be a good one to go through. That would be a good one, actually a really good one to go through. Um, you know what I'm saying? So, uh, but there's a book. I don't have it to share, but I'm gonna post it inside of the Sesh group on Facebook, and then also on Saber University. So I'm gonna start being a lot more active on Saber University, because we set up the website to be the very very similar to Facebook. We have social groups where everybody can comment, post something, comment under it, nested comments, all that. All this, all that. I'm gonna be very active on there and start sharing on there. Kind of get away from the goofy stuff that really just distractions and things like that. People are not serious. People playing games with information and just filling up time of their day with content and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to look for serious people, just trying to make some kind of progress. And because knowing, remember the saying of GI Joe, that cartoon, knowing is half the battle.
Hmm.
The other half is actually applying it. Anything's applicable, we got to apply it. We got to change. When you know better, you do better. And I don't see enough of that. So I'm trying to advocate that. Once we get all this knowledge and we share this and we sound deep and heavy, then what? Then what? Once we get through this religious stuff, spiritual stuff, religious stuff, um, ego inflation, who's right, who's wrong. Now what? You know what I'm saying? What's on the other side of that? We gotten so used to
Oh,
just the fighting part. But go ahead.
Oh, and then another thing, they're gonna start making archaeolo- archaeological video games. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no big gamer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'll be telling my age if I tell you what I you know,
Man, you and I probably same
used to play.
age.
But so yeah, they're gonna be making archaeological video games.
What was your first gaming console?
Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers, Kung Fu.
No, I'm saying what? So the Nintendo
Oh,
was
Nintendo,
it
yeah, Nintendo, yeah. No, Atari.
Atari? Yeah. So me and you just around the same age then. We're around the same age. Atari. That single joystick with the red button. You
Yeah,
talking about that? You talking about that Atari? Yeah.
yeah.
You and I about to say I had Atari, ColecoVision, Nintendo, Sega, uh, all that stuff.
So I just thought that would be constructive. You know, they're gonna start doing that.
Yeah, I've seen one advertised already. Um, you know what's a really good game, a really good game that came out a long time ago, and it was so long ago that I was hoping that they kept up with it because I wanted to put my daughters onto it when they got old enough because it came out when I don't even know if all my daughters, I got three daughters, I don't even think all three were born yet. Maybe my oldest was born. Anyway, it was a video game called Pharaohs, and it's built on the same platform that the game Sims. You know the game Sims?
Yeah,
The Sim
yeah,
game
I heard of
Sims.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's built it's made just like Sims where you got simulation. It's a simulator thing, and you basically go start off with nothing, and then you basically build a city, and you got to take care of the people. You got to feed them. You gotta create the economy and build buildings and defend and go to war and all these things in this game. It's called Pharaohs, and then they have part two called Cleopatra. And those two games, they're old, and I'm surprised now they got civilization, something civilization or whatever. But games like that, what you said, kind of remind me of that. I think those games are really good because one, obviously, you get the aesthetics of Egypt and pyramids and all that kind of stuff, but you also get to learn economy, um, how you do something over here affects the whole. You got the whole world you got to deal with in your own country and defend it and the people down to harvesting food, feeding them, famine. If people starve, then they're not going to work. People work better if they fed real good. All those things. It's really good. So those kind of games. Yep, I could tell Zane is a gamer. He said Age of Empires. That's exactly what it's called now.
all right,
Um,
Buja, I'm a roll. I'm rolling out, man.
okay.
Thanks.
All right. Appreciate
All
you
right,
coming through,
hotel.
man. All right, Hotep. So, anybody else want to come on the panel? I already told Donnie. I said, listen, when Donnie roll out, nobody's gonna come. Nobody's gonna come on the panel. Watch me be right. Watch me be right. I don't mind being wrong though. But yeah. So let me get into the chat. So I'm up there chopping it up with Donnie. Let me get back into the chat because I know people in the chat. You all be having your own conversations sometimes though. Sometimes I'll turn to the chat and I'll be completely lost. I'm like, are y'all paying attention? I see we got a brother Asar in the building. Let me see who else came in. Let me give a shout out. So we got Zane. Shout out to Sonat Lisa, the brother Sean, Zane. Who else came in? That I missed. Asar Imhotep. Uh yeah, man, I missed the interview, Asar. I'm gonna definitely check it out with Mboli. I did pull it up to see how long it was, and it's a nice size, nice amount of time, so that's good. I'm gonna definitely check it out. Be able to check it out tomorrow. The interview, see what you all have been discussing, man. So that'd be good. African Renaissance TV, peace. Philaitis, peace. Who else is in the building? that's all that I see that popped in. I didn't acknowledge, so I just want to give a shout out to you all. And we got Kevin MC Chill, the hardest working brother in the YT universe, YouTube universe, social media universe. Yep. Hey Kevin, man, I be seeing your posts and stuff. Even though I may not take time out to to dive in and chime in and stuff, but man, I be seeing all the different works you be doing. So definitely don't go unnoticed. Keep up the good work and keep up the networking and things that you're doing. So that's really good, man. Really good. And I always, make sure I acknowledge stuff like that because I'm an advocate. I'm anti-enabler, but I'm a pro advocate of good work. I like quality. I like to see quality when I recognize quality when I see it, and I definitely point it out. Just like I point out the elephants in the room, I like to point out the qualities in the room. You know, I don't discriminate. Don't discriminate. I don't discriminate. Um, yeah, but Kevin, at the same time, man, I don't. I think it's about time that I kind of spit 16 at you, man. I think I need to just go ahead and take your head off and spit some 16 bars, man. I think it's my time, man. I think I just need to go ahead and show you what I can do. You know what I mean? The 16 bars. Uh, you know. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm trying. I'm trying to instigate. See what Kevin gonna say in the chat. All right. So what else we got going on? Let's see. Who else? Who else? What we got? What we got? What we got? We can't afford. All right, let me just start quoting some things going down here. Okay, so brother Sean says we can't afford to be lazy and want to liberate and educate folks. Exactly, Sean. I'm with you 100%. We cannot be lazy. We cannot be goofy. We cannot be immature. We cannot enable bad character. We cannot do all these kinds of things. We can't do all of that stuff. That time is over. That time is over. Um, Unfortunately, that's the majority right now, though. So that's that. Um, let's see. African Renaissance TV. I'm trying to catch up to what you're saying about cherry picking experts when it comes to certain topics too. Okay, yeah, I must have missed out on the context of that conversation. Let me try to scroll up and see what that's about. Um, and I don't see any context for that. Alrighty then. So let me go on down. So yeah, African Renaissance. Maybe you can clarify that. Maybe you can clarify that up a bit. What else? I did see a question. Lisa. Oh, Lisa was saying she was playing Space Invaders. Boy, we are telling our age. We had Atari. People playing Space Invaders. Do you understand? Like my oldest daughter will be 19. And if I say Space Invaders, she'll be like, what's that? That's crazy. That's crazy, boy. Space Invaders, man. My favorite arcade game though was Galaxa or Galaxa or whatever, where you had the ship at the bottom, and then you got these things come from the top and they come down and shoot. You got to move side to side and shoot them, and then if you get the right one, you get a second spaceship right next to it, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was my game right there. Then you had Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Donkey Kong Jr., Qbert. I'm definitely telling my age. I bet y'all didn't even hear about these. Oh yeah, asteroids. Goodness. Anyway, going down the list, going down the list, going down the list. Sim City. Yep. Lisa, that was it. Sim City. Sim City. That's a good game. I remember when that first came out. Matter of fact, I still have Sim City 4. I have Sim City 4. Can't even play it. Um, I still have the DVDs or CDs, whatever. Let's see. Lisa says, Wujao, what book did you say you wish was in PDF form? Oh, um, um, Dr. Theophilo Benga's African Philosophy. I wish that was available on Kindle, where we can share. I mean, I could share the screen. We could walk through it like we did the other book. You know, um, but we may have to go old school. We may have to, give to people time to get the book, and then we walk through it anyway, old school style. That's what I'm leaning towards because that's a very good book to walk through. It's a big book, but the way it's written is it's in sections where each chapter is not necessarily relying on the previous one, so we could pretty much kind of jump around in the book, and so that's a good thing. So, but again, the title is African Philosophy, the Pharaonic Age, so and so by Dr. Theophilo Benga. All right, so definitely check that out. Um, let's see, Philaitis. When we get in that spiritual discussion on ancient Kemet, hey, so I'm waiting for people to spark it up. I'm waiting for the interest to show. I'm waiting for the interest to show. I am definitely waiting for the interest to show. I will say this, and I want people to bring the arguments, bring the comments. So Philaitis, listen. Anytime that you yourself or anybody else can discuss something and mention the word spirit, spiritual, or spirituality, anything that you can apply those three terms to in a sentence or a conversation, also keep in mind that that conversation is a psychological one. So spirit, spiritual, and spirituality is correlates to psyche, psychological, and psychology. All right, that's my stance, and I'm sticking to it. And I think if people consider what I just said, the conversations will open up and be and we can have some good quality conversations if people start to see and understand spirit, spiritual, and spirituality through the lens of psyche, psychological, and psychology. I think we can make some headway. So I'm gonna throw that out there. I'm gonna throw you that alley oop Philaitis, and then see what you can work with that. All right. His brother Kevin says Karakuni's book Good Kings also drew controversy because she identified shooter Kyle Rittenhouse as killing black people when he actually killed two white men, and the right wing jumped all over. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, all right. Somebody said Nintendo 64. All right, let's see. Akoma Jed, peace to you, brother. Shout out to Akoma Jed. Let's see. Man, I'm behind on the chat. Let me hurry up and get down here. Let's see. Oh, so Kevin said, "Oh, dang," he said, "Not you too." Nah, Kevin, I'm just playing, man. I can't rap. I can't rap for anything. I can't rap for anything. So don't even worry about that. I'm just talking trash. I can't rap, but I can still be signed though. I'm still gonna get a record deal though, cause you don't have to be able to rap to get a record deal these days. So I'm still gonna get signed. You know what I'm saying? I can get my mumble rap on though, and not make any sense, and I'm still get signed. I'm gonna make millions. You gonna see me iced out. I'm gonna be dripping. I'm gonna be dripping with ice. But I'm gonna have my Lamborghini, my Euros, my Huracan Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have my video. I'm gonna be decked out. Ice jewelry. I'm gonna spend about 500 grand. You know what I need from y'all? This is what I need from you all. I need somebody to put me on to the lingo for money, the modern lingo for money, because I hear the word racks. What is a rack? Like I know what a bag is. Like it say, hey, I'm getting my bag. But what's a band? I think a band is $1,000. But what's a rack? What's the difference between a band and a rack? Uh, and any other term. So somebody, put me up on it, so I can stay current, man. I gotta stay current, man. I don't want my daughters to think I'm outdated, you know, cause we got money and stuff like that. So people got the lingo, drip, drippity. People's clothes is called drip now. Like, oh, I can see, yeah, your drip is nice, and then you a vibe, like all this lingo, like, oh, you a whole vibe. Oh, what you bringing to the table? I am the table. That's how people talking now. I am the table now. What you bring to the table? I am the table. Or you a whole vibe. Okay, okay. I hear you. I hear you. What else they be saying? I'm out here getting my bag. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm getting my bag. Well, what do you do? Uh, I'm I'm an influencer. I'm an Instagram influencer. Like that's the aspiration now. I'm a TikTok influencer. You know, I'm getting my bag. I'm getting my bag. I got racks and racks and bands and bands. It's gonna cost you about 5 bands. Anyway, all right, enough of that. Let's see what else. What else we going on? Um, oh, Galaga. Yeah, that's the name of the game. Galaga. Yep, appreciate that. JB, peace. I said Galaxia. Galaga. That's the video game. I used to play that all the time. Listen, let me tell y'all this little quick little story. I was an arcade head. Y'all don't understand. I went to the arcade. It was a time I went to the arcade every day. There was an arcade right near my house where I used to live at. By the way, y'all know I'm from DC, the DMV. And when I lived in Maryland, I used to live right behind Prince George's Plaza. Okay, if anybody's from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, you know PG Plaza. I have no idea what it's called now, but Prince George's Plaza. I used to live right behind PG Plaza. I could walk there. I used to live in Toledo Apartments, and we used to walk to the arcade every day, every day, every day. And we started getting hip to the spending the quarters. So we used to have a quarter, right, and take some sewing thread, and we would glue it on the edge of the quarter, and we used to sneak and put the quarter in the machine and be able to pull it back up. Like we used to drop it down just enough to trigger the credit for the game and pull it back up and be like blue 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 blue. Boy, we used to spend all day in the arcade playing free. Oh man, those were the days right there. Those were the days. Anyway, see, I'm telling my age because I don't even think they use quarters now. That's crazy. Do they even have arcades still? Um. All right, let me see. Let me keep on going down. Let me keep on going down. Yep, Lisa Theophilo Benga. Yep, Theophilo Benga. Let's see. I'm keep on going down. Philaitis says it's all psychology. Yep, you're right. It is psychology. Spirituality is psychology. Spiritual is psychological, and spirit is psyche. And if you look at it from a disciplines perspective, there's a lot of overlapping and sameness there that people are not exploring, you know, and stuff like that. This is why people who advocate STEM. Now, I want y'all to notice something. You have these people out here claiming to be atheists. You know, you got New Age atheists out there, and they will promote STEM real hard, but they don't. But those people who advocate STEM real hard and are soft or hard atheists, however they want to describe themselves, they don't do well with philosophy, or they shun philosophy, and they don't do very well with psychology. and they even shun psychology. I even had, as an example, I had a brother who told me, and I asked him straight out, I said, "Do you have a mind?" And they told me no, they don't have a mind. And they only said that because they don't want to get into a conversation about the mind and the psyche and psychology, which is the study of the mind and human behavior and all the things that come with that. So they're so rigid and hard on things, and so traumatized by religion or belief systems in the past that they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and even go as far as to say that they don't have a mind and things like that. And this is why I say, it's a lot of goofy stuff that's going on out here in the YouTube streets. But let's keep going down the list. Yes, so y'all asked. Okay, so racks on top of stacks. So racks and bands are the same thing. Okay. Venice, peace to Venice. I see Venice is into the building. Put them young kids getting money on social media. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people getting money. Let's see. Keep on going. I'm going down the list. Hey, just a side question. I'm just asking random questions, like I said, because nobody's coming on the panel, and I'm just hanging out, trying to catch up with everybody. But let me ask y'all, how many of y'all in the chat roller skate? Answer that question. How many of y'all in the chat roller skate? All right, so I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna see your answers. How many of you all in the chat roller skate? Let's see my skaters. Let's see what my skaters are. Let me see. Am I at the bottom? Oh, I'm at the bottom of the chat already. Okay, so I'm caught up on the chat. Zane, you said, would you join a game? Listen, Zane, I'm gonna tell you, me in games, boy, if I get back into games, y'all won't see me anymore. Cause I get lost. I lose myself into that. I get so overwhelmed in games. I'm very competitive, and I like to win at games. Like I will play a game until I win, until I beat the game. Like if it's a challenging game, and I gotta beat a score or beat a certain level, I'm gonna play it until I do it. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta be real careful with that. I'm not as disciplined with that, so I kind of stay away from games right now. I've been tempted. I'm gonna tell you, my last gaming console. Oh, let me put it this way. I've never had a PlayStation, and I've never had an Xbox. So I'm gonna repeat. I've never had a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, whatever they up to, and I've never had Xbox. Nope. I've never had that. Cause if I do, it's done. I will not see the sun. I got my daughter's PlayStation and all those things and stuff like that, but nah, not me. Let's see, Donnie. Okay, so Donnie skates. All right, so Donnie skate. All right. Hey Donnie, where you from again? I forgot where you from. Let's see. Anybody else skate? Zane said he bust. He said, so I'm not a skater. All right. Nobody else skating. All right, so Donnie only wants to skate. Oh, Lisa says, oh, ice skate. Okay, well, nah, that's that. Okay, I can give you a pass. I can give you a pass on that because ice skating is, it's skating. It definitely takes skill for ice skating, for real, definitely. So I can't sleep on ice skating. But yeah, I was just curious because skating is I'm just curious because somebody, I'm trying to get back into skating. Venice said skateboard. Oh boy, and that's different. Skateboarding is definitely different. Venice, where are you from? Venice. I said Venice, but Venice. Where are you from? Where are you located? I have to ask you that now that you said skateboarding. Okay, what else was going on? Philaitis, the celebrities who can better be something other than themselves. The best are usually good actors. I notice. Oh, Venice, California. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, I think that makes sense about skateboarding because when I think of skateboarding, I think of California. I don't know why. I do because when I grew up, we didn't skateboard. That just wasn't our thing. We rode bikes. We didn't skateboard. Nope, we rode bikes. What else is going on? So yeah, what else is going on? What's going on in as far as information and stuff like that? What's going on? But Philantis, I do want to say that spiritual conversation. I'm ready anytime. I just rather people get up to speed on it and bring it up. I don't want to dictate that conversation because my stance is I don't think people are really prepared or ready to really have a quality conversation about stuff like that because people don't understand it in terms of psychology, like I was saying. People don't know what things really are. Like people confuse belief system with religion, with culture. They confuse race with ethnicity. They confuse linguistic questions with DNA answers and stuff like that. So it's a lot of mess out there. And if and then people don't even understand what spirit is. People talk about spirit as if it's an entity, and they they equate it with energy, and then they talk about the energy slash spirit as an entity, not knowing that energy is really a measurement. It's an attribute or quality of matter, and things like that. So um, there's a lot of things I think people just need to kind of get up to speed on. But I would love to have those kind of conversations because it's really dealing with psyche, s- um, psychological, and psychology, the study of the mind and human behavior. And if you really, really think about these so-called spiritual systems, the output of these spiritual systems is supposed to produce better people who behave a certain way and think a certain way. And so thinking, the mind, and behaving, living life and engaging your fellow man and stuff like that, all those things of behavior, these are all psychological issues. Sociology and psychology, they're slept on in our community. And you got to think about it. We can't be too polarized. We can't be too extreme. We can't push STEM and then not balance it out with psychology and sociology. We can't push the hard sciences and then ignore the humanities. We can't do that. And I want y'all to notice something in the YouTube streets. People who are polarized, they push STEM and they ignore and frown upon the humanities. They don't put enough time in the humanities, but yet they got so much to say about the humanities. And then when it comes to STEM, which people promote a lot about, they're not well versed in that either. You know, when it comes down to it. And so I think that we need more balancement. We need people who are competent in both areas of the hard sciences and humanities and know how to bridge the two. You know, we got to understand science and we have to understand mathematics. We have to understand the domain of evidence and we have to understand the domain of logic and how logic operates and works itself out. and how evidence is produced, the different kinds of evidence, the different weights of evidence, the different applications of evidence in the different scenarios in which we find evidence in. So for example, in the legal arena or the legal sphere of engagement, um, certain types of evidence has a high value. That same type of evidence in the legal sphere with the high value there will have a very low value in the hard sciences. So, for example, eyewitness testimony has a very high value in the legal sphere, but a very low value in the hard scientific sphere, such as astrophysics and physics and things like that. Very low. And we have to have that understanding of when to apply, how to apply, what the value is of these different things. We can't just have this cookie cutter application to everything. Same thing with authorities and experts. Like I said earlier, this brother Hutch, whoever this brother is, claimed that I said, or that I claim, experts can't be trusted. That person, Hutch, whoever that person is, will never be able to quote me saying that. And they basically lying on me saying that when outside of my presence. And I say that's, back in the day we say that's some sucker stuff. Or that's some coward stuff when people do that. Straight hating. But that aside, authorities and experts, we defer to them. But authorities and experts can make mistakes. They're not infallible. So whenever we're confronted with two opposing scholars or authorities or expert pieces of information, then the onus becomes, or the next best move is for the person with the inquiry to step their game up to be able to discern. You have to learn to discern. So for example, if I have a research question and I'm not competent in the field in which I have a question in, I have to defer to the experts. I have to defer to the authorities. I have to defer to the scholars in the field, right? But in my deferring to the scholars, I'm going about my literature review. So scholar 1 says the answer is X. Scholar 2 says the answer is Y. Scholar 3 says the answer is Z. So I got 3 scholars with 3 different answers. Now I'm stuck because I don't know which one is right. So it's on me at that point to gain some kind of competency or level of discernment to be able to work something out to know which scholar has the stronger or superior method at reaching their conclusions and why, and so on and so forth. That's what people need to do when it comes to that. But we always defer to authorities. We always defer to experts because we don't know everything. For me, an example, I have over 10 years experience with the ancient Egyptian language. I can tell you all about the ancient Egyptian language from the writing system to its grammar, pretty much at a drop of a dime. If y'all had any questions right this minute, I could pretty much share a lot of answers for it. Anything I don't know, I can quickly find whatever case is, and we could work the things out. I have a lot of experience in that because I've been teaching it over 10 years. I've been dealing with it more than 10 years, but I've been teaching it for 10 years. So if I've been teaching it for 10 years, then I've been dealing with it longer than that, obviously, because I didn't just wake up one day and start teaching it. So for me, I can discern the various different experts and other scholars and experts and authorities with the ancient Egyptian language. I know enough to make those discernments. and check the methodology behind any claims and any conclusions. So I can speak on that, but I can't speak on things that I don't share that same amount of expertise and focus and research in, and you don't hear me do it. You don't hear me go live and talk about things that is not a focus of mine. I don't take a stance. I don't argue and formulate opinions about things that I don't study. You don't hear me do that. But on these YouTube streets in the circus community, that's the norm. A lot of these people be talking a lot of stuff about things that they themselves don't even study. Or they think they study by, pulling up YouTube things and stuff. And then, what's crazy though, is people will say cite a source as an excuse to normalize not studying. Cite a source. And then people will cite a source. But that's not studying though. The ability to cite a source doesn't study. I can cite. Listen, I can cite a lot of sources on how the aliens built the pyramids. On top of that, I can introduce PhD holders, people who have PhDs, who support paranormal activity, alien phenomenon, aliens built the pyramids, or some advanced civilization did this and a third. I can quote and show PhD degreed people who advocate those things. I can show that. And I'll tell you right now, how many of y'all have heard of Gaia? G-A, let me spell it right. I think it's G-A-I-A. Yep. Do this. Go to Gaia.com, Gaia.com. That is a well-funded and professional-looking, organization of people that are all into the paranormal stuff, the metaphysics, paranormal, UFO, alien, other dimension, astral projection, etheric realm type of stuff. And there's people that have master degrees, PhD degrees, advocating those things. They have documentaries on Netflix and stuff like that. Just watch Ancient Aliens. When they introduce somebody, they got their lower thirds with their name. They say, Stephen Jablonski, PhD. And they're up there talking about, some things. So anyway, my point is that when the rubber hits the road, what it really boils down to is, and I think one of y'all said it, Zane said it, Sean said it actually, we have to step up and take responsibility based on the level of interest we have in any given subject. So if you're curious enough about a subject, you're going to put that work in. You're going to put that time in, because you don't want to be in a position to where you have to use experts as a crutch forever. You don't want to completely rely on an expert, because experts can be wrong. And if an expert is wrong and you are completely relying upon that expert, guess what? Then if the expert is wrong, you will be wrong. Now, there's a difference between deferring to the experts from appealing to their authority, violating the appeal to authority. And I did a whole video on the difference of that. and we should defer to experts. But it's not meant when you run into an issue where experts disagree with each other. Now, what do? You all remember the commercials when Apple first came out with the App Store, and it was like, it was like a running joke, like there's an app for that. There's commercials where somebody would say something, and then somebody pop up and be like, "There's an app for that. There's an app for that. There's an app for that." Well, guess what? There's an expert for everything. You mentioned something, there's going to be an expert for everything. Aliens built the pyramid. Up, I got an expert for that. You know, all of that stuff. Hey, the statue of Jesus moved. Hey, got an expert for that. But the point is that, okay, if you can find an expert for everything, and then these experts once they contradict each other, then what are you gonna do? So anyway, my point is that we have to, if you're interested in something enough, you're gonna have to put the work in, and people just need to get back used to that, because we used to be about that. We used to be about that, and that's the thing. So for me, everybody knows my focus is ancient Egypt as a culture. And we tackle we engage the culture by way of its language. So I took my time to put that work in with the language. I could deal with the language forwards and backwards. And I believe we got somebody on the platform and the channel right now. We got African Renaissance TV. Hopefully you can hear me. Peace. If you're speaking, I can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you. Can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you, can't not hear you. So if you can hear me, you might have to leave and come back in. You may have to leave and come back in. It's not that you are not relying on experts, it's that you too have the tools to use proper methodology in many cases. Oh, wait, can anybody else hear African Renaissance? But African Renaissance, if you can hear me, I think you have to leave and come back. I'm not sure, because I know some people, when they first come in here, if you don't allow your browser to have access to your microphone. Oh, hey, I think he rolled out. Okay, if you can still hear me, when you first come in here, make sure you give your browser or whatever you're using access to your microphone. You have to allow it to have access to your microphone. And if you're on your phone, um, I think some people who come in here through their phone, you have to use your phone's browser first, and or something. I don't know. Um, I'm not on here by way of the phone, so I can't really tell you exactly what to do. But yeah, anybody else want to come in? I'm not gonna be here too much longer. I'm just trying to catch up in things. But overall, we have to do better. I'm looking for people who who want to bring back quality, who want to bring back excellence, who want to bring back progress. You know, I understand entertainment. I like entertainment myself and stuff. I like to have fun. I like to joke. But I think there's a time and place for a lot of things. I think it's too overwhelming. I think people are playing too much, and calling it scholarship, calling it education, calling it these things. There's a lot of misnomers going on around here. You know, um, I think there's a time and place for everything. I think celebrations are applicable after achievements. You can't celebrate a win prior to the game while the game is still in progress. You know, how many times have you seen a 100-meter dash or a track or some kind of race where the person is approaching the finish line and they celebrate too early, and the person who would have been in second place, they go in first place because the person didn't push through the tape, through the finish line. They pushed up to the finish line. That has to be the worst feeling, y'all. Imagine being in first place in a 400-meter race, and you're in first place, and then at the very last minute, because you didn't push through the finish line, you kind of like gave up at the very end because you felt that you're gonna win, and the person right behind you just edged it by a neck, literally the space of your head. All right, let's try this again. African Renaissance, you there? You in the building? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It looks like you did change something, but I still can't hear you. If you're speaking, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. I can't hear you. While you sort that out, Ankoma Jed, he said, "What is the process to upload a lesson on Saber University?" Um, what do you mean by upload a lesson? Oh, you mean to create a lesson? To create um a lesson? To like create a course or create a lesson? Kind of clarify that for me. If that's what you mean, then clarify that for me. African Renaissance. Yeah, I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. I don't think anybody can hear you. From this end, it looked like I should be able to hear you, but I don't. If you're speaking, I don't hear anything. If you're speaking, I don't hear anything. But on Coma Jed, if you're interested in creating a lesson or creating something, yeah, email me, ujao@gmail.com, or email Sabre University. Email I think it's info@saberuniversity.com or support at saberuniversity.com. Email any one of those, and I'll get you sorted. Yeah, we're gonna turn up on saberuniversity.com. We have a mobile app. Oh, there you go, African Renaissance. I think I
Can you
just
hear me?
heard something. Yep, there you go.
Bet, bet. Okay.
Oh, there you go, African Renaissance. I think I just heard something. But I think you might have to mute your YouTube side
Yeah, let me
because I'm hearing the echo.
okay, cool. Finally.
Wait a minute, the African Renaissance. I keep forgetting, man. This is Aziz. Soon as I heard your voice, this is I already know this is Aziz. I keep forgetting, man. You the name chameleon, man. You got so many names.
Yeah,
What's
it's
going
me,
on?
man. Well, this is just I'm thinking of turning this into an actual YouTube channel and uploading some presentations.
Okay.
Um and speaking of which, I have a presentation I'm working on called Shehunter Job, um Wolof language and the experts, you know,
Okay.
because I feel like there's some missing perspectives from the common discourse that we're getting right now. You got a lot of people speaking on stuff, but they're not reading stuff. They don't like to read certain African scholars.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the methodology and don't practice the culture nor know any of the languages.
Yeah, you're
So
right. You're right.
you know, um, so that's a problem. That's a problem.
That's a big
You know,
problem.
and
I'm
and
with you
a,
on
and
that.
a narrative is being created right now. And people are running with it. So I think it's time people kind of just step in. You know,
All right, well, I'm gonna look forward to that because I agree with you 100%. A lot of people are are doing the reverse. They and they may not know that they're doing it, but they will say things like, um, because it's an African scholar, they have a tainted or biased view of it from the get go. It's like judging a book by its cover. Because they're an African scholar, they people tend to not take it serious, and that's the mentality that
Yeah,
European scholars have dominated the scholarly fields for a long time, and they don't understand that they are a victim of that same mentality. And I hear it all the time, but I hear it mainly from people who are materialists who push STEM and or who claim to be atheists and things like that. Those are the main people that I see in these YouTube streets that do it. You know, they don't understand it. They want to be pro black and black African power you to death, but yet when it comes to the real work and stuff like that, they actually have a European's perspective and execution of thinking.
facts. Wujao, I saw somebody get on screen, get on live, and say that if you're a linguist and you use your own language, you're an ethnocentrist.
See,
You
that's
know,
dumb. That's retarded.
like I don't even understand how that can even come out of somebody's mouth. You know, um,
That's retarded.
especially dealing with some of this stuff. If you want, I even have like an example of what I mean because I can talk about it. But if I show an example of how you can kind of follow up on some of the things that experts say, as a layman, as a concerned or interested layman, maybe people will get a an idea of why you have other people who are more qualified than me who are making arguments against certain things.
I mean, you say you have an example right now.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, share it, cause you can show this example, and then that would be the highlight of this live, and then I'm out of here. So yeah, you should go ahead and share if you want to share your screen. Go ahead. Yep, yep. Let's see examples. But I'm with you 100% because I think a lot of people do that, and 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 people know my stance on a lot of things. I don't I think that it's very detrimental that we've created a culture, a social media culture of adversarialism where everything is a boxing match, everything is adversary, everything is competition or fighting. We even use the vernacular and words of all of that. But I'm about to put what you're sharing on the big screen right there. There you go. All right, so it's all yours.
y'all can see it.
Yep.
All right, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I'm just gonna go to some select stuff, right? But when we speak about Job in context, and we speak about Job because he's one of the people who kind of initiated uh, the language conversation as it concerns um, ancient Egypt and African languages, right?
Hmm.
Um, and this is him at the Cairo conference. And this I think is important because this is actually a recommendation from the Cairo symposium, you know. And I'll just read it really quickly. And it says the symposium recommends that a linguistic study be made without delay on the African languages which are in imminent danger of disappearing. Kaukau has been suggested as a very significant case in point, right? At the same time, the cooperation of specialists in comparative linguistics should be enlisted at an international level in order to establish all possible correlations between African languages and ancient Egyptian.
Man, read that highlighted part one more time, man, because that right there is not highlighted enough.
Right. So at the same time, the cooperation of specialists in comparative linguistics should be enlisted at an international level in order to establish all possible correlations between African languages and ancient Egyptian.
Yes, indeed.
Now, you know, if specialists from the conference made this recommendation, who are these other people who are saying that, whether it be you, Asar, or anybody else, has no right to bring a contribution to that.
Right. They don't have a leg to stand on because people. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know you. That's a rhetorical, rhetorical question, but the answer is real simple, man. These people are really not serious and shouldn't be taken serious. The people who say those kinds of things because they don't really study. They're not interested in solving the issues. You know, like real scholars, real students, they look at research questions as something to be solved, not something to be identified and circularly talked about. Like
Indeed.
we try to identify a problem or a curiosity, and then we seek to solve it, and then move on to the next. But these people out here in these YouTube streets, the short bus folks and the goofies, they just halfway identify something and then just talk about it for months and months and months and months.
Man, pure confirmation bias. Pure
Ex-
confirmation bias.
exactly. But that's a very good point and highlight that you got there. It's page 103. At the same time, the cooperation of specialists and comparatively. Now, Mboli is one such person that is a contributor to that.
Indeed.
But yet, people are trying to have. They got so much to say against Mboli's efforts, and didn't even read his work.
Man,
On
I saw
top of that,
somebody get on live and say Mboli's book was ghetto French, but don't speak French. But apparently they got somebody that helped them out. I don't know who said that, but I I don't know where the ghetto French is at in that book. They don't have to point that out to me.
but see that like one that's irrelevant, and it's irrelevant because Mboli's book is utilized by students and people at the college level at this point, and it's published through not a self publishing company.
Indeed.
It's through a bona fide publishing company that has tenure in the game.
Hmm.
So so if it's ghetto or not, it's just a silly, accusation, especially coming from a person who don't speak French themselves and have never read in Bowley's book. That sounds like something that somebody from Team Osiris would say.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy. And that's just one of the crazy claims. But I'm gonna just go through some real quick, man, because I just want
All
to
right.
show how things can become skewed, and there's a nuance, and there's some perspectives that people are not, you know, that they may not even feel like they have access to. So I definitely, felt pissed off when I seen certain stuff, but at the same time, I think that you know, at some point, people are also victims of other people's shortcomings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just keep going. So, all right. So, Afro-Asiatic. We're all familiar with the conversation. Negro, Niger Congo. We're all familiar with that to some
Oh, you,
extent.
you about to say Negro Congo, boy. You about to
Right, right. The
invent a
whole new
whole nother
language.
thing.
Watch out. All right, but I'm not even gonna go through all this. But if you're interested, you can go ahead and screenshot that. But it's really just some prerequisite considerations when
Can you do me a favor and click hide at the bottom
okay,
on your screen?
okay,
Can you click hide? Yeah, just so
yeah,
people can see the full thing. Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Um, so this is these are Joke's major books on his linguistic work, right?
Hmm.
Um, and here's a critique that shoots some of Joke's work. And if you have Asar Imhotep's book, Illusion Volume 2, you can follow, I think, from page 17 to 25 or something like that. Um, you know, but Chu claims that Job does not provide any convincing evidence for an Egyptian wall of connection. The use and misuse of language, 1997, Russell Shue. Rest in peace to Russell Shue, and I put to the side right here, most of Job's critics actually lack the depth to critique his concrete works and instead makes dismissive remarks. Whatever could be said about Shu, he at least, like Moni, attempted to detail a critique of Job's work. So what he thought, he actually put in paper. A lot of people who people go to say pseudo really just made dismissive remarks and probably never even read the work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that's that.
Yeah.
What makes convincing evidence? Convincing evidence of connection between two languages does not depend on surface similarities words display or solely their geographic proximity, but instead begins the regular sound correspondences between languages. Cognitive parts like vocabulary and grammar must correspond in form and meaning. These parts of speech must also be able to be reconstructed into their proto forms, right? And I mentioned Asar's book, does a treaty on he also does something on Shu's critique of Job's work.
Mm-hmm.
But say like so Shu takes a list of vocabulary words from Job and proceeds to go through them and tries to decide which ones of them are valid and which aren't, even though his specialty is in Chadic languages, right? Um, so in this entry, right, um, you have the term habasit or hebesu, you know. Shu points out that neither form is in Faulkner, but as Asar points out, that's irrelevant because Jup is taking these forms from the Water Book, right? So why would he
Mm-hmm.
even mention Faulkner? And just
Mm-hmm.
as a nugget, um, to Shu's own admittance, he only used one uh, Wolof dictionary to critique Job's work.
Yeah, and that's not advisable.
That's not advisable, and especially from a country that's 30, 40, 50 years removed from colonization, doesn't even come from a culture of making dictionaries. Um, that's just unwise and almost uh, how do you say just kind of dishonest from coming from a PhD standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we can give this to Shu, right? Because this is an unattested form in Wolof dictionaries, you know. So whether Job was right or not, we'll just give that one away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, you have the term for back, you know, Egyptian yat, however you want to pronounce it,
Mm-hmm.
um, which Job compares to yatu, derived from ya, the root ya in Wolof, you know, and that means to be broad, to be wide. Shu has a problem with this one, but as a star stated, I agree with him. It just kind of shows his lack of knowledge of um, Egyptian etymology, honestly. Um, and as it concerns Wolof, you do have this term um, or a correlation to this term in Wolof. Um, but maybe in his one dictionary, he wasn't able to see that, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you have this term, jat, back, spine. And there's even an expression, jatundig, which means the middle of the back, the middle of the spine. Jatu means to talk with one hand on the hip and one in the air. Just coming from a African perspective, I think everybody's familiar with that kind of stance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just to speak with attitude, to put your back into it of some sorts, you know. And I put the sources right here so nobody can say that these terms don't exist or I'm making it up, right? Um, so right here you have the term for fathers, stepfather, grandfather, ancestor, sovereign, right? Job compares that to what of Yit, which means to beat and to discipline. And Wujao, you as someone who I consider as somewhat of an expert in Medew Netcher, um, or specialist, however you want to call it, somebody who's very proficient, um, can you confirm that terms for education, have determinatives of like the 824 determinative of somebody holding a stick,
Yes.
right?
Education education has been coupled in the psyche of the people with discipline and beating and force.
Right, right. So that would mean that that Jup's entry right here is not that far fetched, you know. So for Shu to characterize it as being far fetched, to me is kind of weird, and I can understand the pushback because it's the Egyptian word for father. You know, I
Mm.
think that's an important term if you're talking about any kind of relationship. But in Wolof, you actually have the term jit, which some people might not define as father off the bat, but jit and jit is just two variations of the same root, means head of household, foremost, father, father of nation, president, forefather, predecessor, ancestor. Almost
Mm.
the same exact word as in ancient Egyptian, you know.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I put the references right here, and the root term plant to plant, ejaculate, descend. So there really should be not too much confusion as it concerns these examples. Here's another example. I feel like I'm taking up a lot of time though, so like I'm gonna just cut it short for real. But when you're doing these comparisons, you're comparing root terms, right? So that's what you're seeing here in Egyptian iken or ikenu. The root part is the ken part, and that's what Job compares here. But once again, Shu has an issue with this comparison. Um, Egyptian tea bread for the entry eat, he compares to lek in Wolof and yam. Um, but these two terms obviously have little to do with one another. But maybe if he consulted a Wolof speaker, um, they could have told him another term and maybe could have informed him that the word tanga, you know, or the word togu would have been very good correlations for that term. And I got some other stuff in here, but I don't want to go on too long. Um, Egyptian Sani to resemble Sani, Sandi to throw, to project. Even the term for twin brother is Sunni,
Mm-hmm.
is a name for twins,
Mm-hmm.
and that's documented as well.
Well, that actually comes from the number two, which means a second. So
Indeed,
sin is the word for two. Sin is the word for brother or sibling, which is another
indeed,
one. Yeah.
indeed, indeed. And that's what I'm saying is it's just showing really how somebody can make these conclusions about somebody else's work, you know, in a format that they don't really understand or grasp, you know, and be completely wrong,
Yeah.
and also be a PhD.
Now, see, my problem with the people who Monday morning quarterback on the YouTube streets. See, it's okay. Like my problem is that people may on the surface initially disagree with something, but my problem is that they don't disagree with the acknowledgement that their disagreement really has no weight because they haven't put in any work whatsoever to check out, investigate, to discern, to whatever. So because of that, they should be silent on the matter. But instead, we have the exact opposite. People who are the most loudest and the most, talkative about these subject matters, they know little to nothing about what it is that they're trying to argue, and it becomes something totally different. People don't like Mboli for what? They can't dislike him or his work because of the merit of the work itself, because they haven't studied it. So the whole conversation gets shifted to, well, can I find Mboli on Wikipedia? Can I Google Mboli somewhere? And I'm like, what?
Not
You know what I'm
realizing
saying?
how limited that is.
Exactly. So it becomes a totally different conversation than the actual merits and validity and the strength of his claims, arguments, and conclusions and whatnot. And that's what people tend to do. They tend to take the conversation into the arena in which they are familiar with, which in most cases is not even the actual information. People try to do that. And see, in debating school, we're taught to recognize that when that happens, people cover their shortcomings by diverting. Like if you and I are having a conversation about um the semantic shift of a set of 10 vocabulary words, and we're showing the semantics of it all and this and that. A person who's not familiar with that, they'll come in the conversation and try to pull the conversation over to uh, the writing system, like making an argument about the Latin script. Why are Wolof people using Latin letters? You know what I'm saying? They'll shift the whole conversation over to where they feel comfortable instead of just being quiet and humbling out and trying to learn something to build. You know, and that's what happens a lot, man. So just that little bit that you showed, so I'm gonna look forward to when you plan on doing the full thing.
I can't say for sure, but definitely sometime really soon.
Okay, well definitely keep me posted on that because I'm gonna check it out. I got some catching up to do. I'm gonna definitely watch Asar's interview with Mboli. I'm definitely interested in that. Mboli is a pioneering scholar in African languages, and I think that he's not getting the support that he absolutely deserves. Not just because he's a quote unquote black person, racially identified as black, or because he's an African, but it's because of the actual quality of the work. But we won't know that if we don't check it out. And I think people are being unfair. They're not looking at his work by whatever reason. If them not knowing French is keeping them from it, cool. But if that's the case, then shut up. You know what I'm saying? But instead of hating on him, at least be neutral and just be quiet. You know? And plus, see, here's the thing. People who got something against Asar, because Asar introduced Mboli, now they got a thing against Mboli. And they tend to lump me, Asar, and Sanjeti together. Um, Whatever. And then, have these conversations and whatnot. But they can't really defend what they're saying. And they definitely say it outside of my presence and whatnot.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man.
Because they can't handle it. They got, I'm like really, really confident in things that I say. Because me, I don't argue things that I don't study.
Yeah, at very least, like I'm never gonna pronounce myself on a book that I haven't read and that I don't
Exactly.
understand and that I know that I don't understand. If I gotta go call people from across the Atlantic, you know, to interpret whole chapters for me, you know, let alone translate, that's something different. Maybe I should take my time. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Like
I
like
guess some
like people
people
should.
different. You
Like
know.
people should. People should do that. That's one of my biggest frustrations is, see, I come from the background, the saying of, if you can't improve this silence, then don't speak. And so instead of people being silent on issues, because this social environment pushes people to have to say something, and to create content for channels and stuff like that, they feel compelled to say something. And and so they'll say something, but what they say is like from an ignorant space or ill-informed space instead of being informed. And that's where I get frustrated that happens. And I think we need to cut that out. you know at least be quiet, speak on what you know, and be a student to what you don't know. That's it. don't argue against something you don't really know. People having these conversations. So yeah, language, linguistics. Like I like the last conversation that I had. I think Asar had, because Asar did a show on critiquing the critique or something like that. Dealing with that the other day, not too long ago. And then he had an after party, and because I couldn't tune in either, engage in either one, I did an after party after after party, and people were something that came up along the lines of like how is language mathematics and things like that. And on its own, that's a good question. That's a good question to ask. Like, wait a minute, how, you're saying language or linguistics is like mathematics, then how is that on its own? But people will ask and have those discussions without any study, but argue that it's not similar to mathematics, or mathematics has nothing to do with linguistics and language and stuff like that. And so that's where the frustration comes in.
It definitely does. It definitely does. You're just talking about representations of values.
Exactly.
You know.
At the core, at the core of communication is um, is mathematics, because we're dealing with declarations and formula. Like language itself, what we're calling a language is really a set of formulas that we hold in our psyche or the mind, and we share that. And those who share it are able to communicate. We call it a speech community. Those who don't share it cannot communicate. Therefore, we say you are speaking another language, and I don't understand your language because I don't have the keys to your formula of form and meaning. You got the form and the meaning and the link between the two. That's a formula in and of itself.
In of itself, yeah. And that's the thing too. Like a lot of people are not even since they're not interested in the first place, they haven't gone through the process of acquiring the capability of even to be able to discern the value of what's in front of them.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
so they're just
Exactly.
looking at a screen like it's just just something else that I've seen this week. you know, something else that I've heard this week. But people don't understand that there's a difference. Some people are actually talking with work behind what they're saying. You know, and experience behind some of the things that they're saying. So I know, I know the word expert is being challenged around here, but you know, um, I think people would be hard pressed to find some other people who are as well versed in some of these topics.
Yeah, they. Oh, go ahead, Emicat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I mean I do see where the problem is, and I think yeah, you kind of feel sorry for the people who put themselves in the platform where they want to criticize stuff, knowing fully well that they really do not understand whatever topic they're dealing with, especially when it comes to language in that sense, because this is not one of those topics where you're just going to argue by relying on an expert in that sense, because at the end of the day you really have to understand what you're arguing about, and obviously that comes with being able to demonstrate. But when you can't even understand, like you're dealing with something like linguistics, you're dealing with language, and if you don't even understand the phenomena, like even when it comes to metaphors, because if you look closely, these people who argue these kind of things um, don't even understand, things like metaphors, what is happy, what is, people will actually have shows after shows trying to figure out what is happy. When you find yourself trying to figure out like something like what a word is in that sense, you already know that you are in the wrong environment, in the wrong field, and you're going to be challenged because you don't understand just the basics of how languages works, and how the particular culture that you're trying to to argue about is using those words, and what the meaning behind the word is, and that's just like a basic thing. So already you see that challenge that these people have. um and then the worst part is you're coming into a language which is considered a dead language.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're dealing with the language that you actually have to study a particular script that is not that it's actually now it's not written in Latin in that sense. Because while you see these people argue, they will always rely on some translations, but at the end of the day you really have to go behind the translations and actually figure out what this is, which requires you to study a script, and not just any kind of script, because scripts are different. This is the hieroglyphic is a kind of special script, because you have logographs, you have how all the different glyphs function is things that when you don't even understand the most basic Latin script and language, and then you deal it's just what I'm trying to say is just that it's layers and layers of layers and levels of understanding that requires like time, and from the very basic, if you're completely challenged, it's going to be a mess for you. But you see that these people are actually loud. And then I just recently heard that people are actually now trying to learn the TLA and looking into buzz, like things that were 100 years ago, and trying to find information, like not even the 2020 information, but
Yeah.
even going back, while you already have years of actually having a stance. and
Yeah.
and then and then these people don't even other than English, not even know Spanish, not even nothing. Like, it's
Man.
just a lot of things that when you understand, like, do you understand that you're discussing a culture, and then you're also discussing a language, and you are so challenged, and this is why you never see any demonstration. And then you see the new slogan: we rely on the experts. Like, if you rely on the experts, you have no business like being on YouTube trying to tell or educate people, unless you're just trying to educate people how to be handicapped and rely on experts. Because in order to educate somebody, you have to have mastered something yourself. Otherwise, you're just, it's the blind leading the blind, basically, in that sense. So it's a lot. And the only reason why I actually came on the panel was actually I would actually like to challenge people, just have it like this quick challenge. Take 3 months. You can start with a month. Like, turn off YouTube. Like, no, you don't have to turn your YouTube off completely, but this particular channel, just turn it off for a month. Let's start with a month. You gotta do it in small chunks. Turn it off. Take that particular topic that you've been following on these channels, like that particular topic that makes you go to that channel specifically. Turn off that channel. Take that topic in your own time, every day, whatever. Try to just start reading books on it, and just on your own free time, in silence, no distractions, no nothing. After 1 month, see how much you've learned, then do another month. But after 3 months, then go back to that particular channel and try to listen. And I'll tell you, because I did this. I didn't do it intentionally, but when I first started learning the Sesh, I remember back in the day, I was, I saw people like Polite on Netter's channel and all that, and they were, I think Polite was going over through that Nesut thing, and showing people like this is the Sesh and what it means, and I was very, very impressed, and then that was before I took the classes anyway,
Work
and
the magic.
right. And then it took me, because our classes is like 12 weeks, 3 months, you know, 3 months. Once I learned the Sesh, I remember one time I went back to the channel for some reason. Obviously, back then there was a lot going on, especially with, there's always something going on with Kemet, anyways. And then that same video came up, and I'm telling you, when I listened to Polite, I couldn't believe that this is the thing that impressed me 3 months prior. Like, it was just like, my goodness, like, I was getting upset, because I'm like, dude, you're so wrong. Like, I felt like I needed to correct, like, talking to the screen. You know how, like, when you're watching the spots and then your favorite team is losing and you're like yelling on the screen. I felt like, man, dude, what are you doing? And I'm telling you, that stuff works. Just turn off those channels, give yourself a challenge, and go and study. Because what happens with these people is that you will see people like that will always be on the channel.
No, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. Focus is important. See, Joe got something on the screen though. Yo, what happened?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, yeah. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, the connection, man, it happened. Emicat was on the road too,
Right?
so
She just
hopefully,
dropped
hopefully
off.
everybody can still hear. But until she's able to come back and stuff, I just want to share this on my screen, and then probably want to go ahead and close out. Um, and I'm gonna try to go live, because I like having kind of laid back conversations and mix things up between presenting giving formal presentations on things, because I think that people need to be able to express and kind of chime in on what matters and stuff. It's good to have fun, but man, we have to really get some accomplishments under our belt and see the progress. And I just don't see it. But I just want to show this example on the screen. So I have this question here at the top of the screen. Now I've done this many times over the years, and I've asked this question many times over the years. And I ask, how many vowel sounds do we have in English? And without fail, people answer six, five, and possibly six. So they say, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, because that's generally what we're taught, right? The vowels. And so when I ask the question and people give that answer, I tell them that they're wrong. And then people are shocked. They're like, "What you mean, Wujao? What you? Oh, here go Wujao about to make up his own thing, because the experts say it's A E I O U and sometimes Y, but Wujao's gonna have a different answer because or whatever the case is." And people will be quick to jump to conclusions and things like that. So then I move forward and explain, and then it becomes a teaching moment, and I let people know that English, in English, we have 20 vowel sounds, but we only have 6 characters to represent them, and that's a big distinction to make. And I do this exercise with people to show the level of detail that's required to have these kinds of conversations. We can't just on the surface say how many vowel sounds English have and just say 5, possibly 6, and then that's that. No, these conversations require people to not be lazy and to really pay attention to the details, because the question is not how many vowel characters do we have in English, it's how many vowel sounds that we have in English, and we have 20. We have 20 vowel sounds. And so I'm gonna put what those 20 are, and they're here. There are 20 vowel sounds, and the normal Latin orthographic script we use, we only have 6 characters representing them. But if we use the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, we're able to distinguish all 20 of these sounds. And so I have them listed on the screen. And so once I point this out to people, then they have a eureka moment and say, well, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. They understand that. And I use this example to lead into the conversation of how the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system works in terms of the characters and how they represent different sounds, so they could distinguish between the script from the phonology, from the graphs and grapheme versus the phonemes and the phones, or the phonology of a language. And so by doing it this route, I cut out all the naysayers and all the other things, and it's a better it presents a better quality conversation. And hopefully y'all can hear me, because I see we having issues with connection. So for somebody in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me, still hear me, because if I'm sitting here talking to myself, then that's definitely crazy right there. If somebody can confirm from chat that I could still be heard, I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm going to wait. Um, I'm not going to keep on talking. Okay, so Lisa confirmed. Appreciate it, Dua, for that. But anyway, that's all I wanted to share, as my last thing. And let this be a learning lesson. If you did not know this, what I'm showing on the screen, let that be um, a learning lesson. That we have 20 vowel sounds in English, but we only have 6 alphabetic characters to represent all 20 of those sounds. So let me go further. I'll show you a further example. Um, Let me do this. I'll show you the example I always use. Now, mind you, this what I'm showing you is old. I use this example, but I'm going to show you this example. Let's take this word here. Let's take this word. I forgot the words that I use. This word. Um, I'm trying to think of the words that I use. Oh yeah. There should be a fourth one, and for some reason I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of it right now. But I'm just gonna deal with these 3 for now. So if you look at these words right here on the screen, I have father, fate, and fat, and I want you all to pay attention to um, the A, the character A. Okay, and I'm highlighting these in red on the screen so that you all can see them, so they stick out a bit. All right. And already you should be able to know where I'm going with this. So we have the word father, the word fate, and the word fat. Now each of those 3 words have the exact identical character of an A, the letter A in there. But I want you to notice that although they have the exact same character, these are 3 different and distinct vowels. So father has the ah, fate has the a, and fat has the a. So we have ah, a, ah, a. Those are 3 different vowel sounds, but they're utilizing the exact same character to visually represent them. Now, this understanding to have this in mind and have this understanding goes a long way in understanding how the hieroglyphic writing system operates, and really how any writing system operates for that matter, because writing system is the visual representation of speech. So there is a mapping process to map sounds to graphs, to something visual. And that mapping is something that becomes known in the psyche of the population of people that utilize it. So the outcome of this becomes legibility. Can you read something? So reading is a social experience that comes about where you have a reading community, just like you have a speech community. And you know this because there are some people who can speak English but can't read. They can't read or write, but they can talk. They can speak English to you, but they can't read or write. So these are 2 distinct things that are learned. We learn them at a young age. And so we have to keep all this stuff in mind. So I'm just sharing this with you just as an example of the level of detail that's required to have certain conversations that people who don't try to go to this level of detail, they will argue, fuss, and fight with you and just waste your time. So, don't allow people to do that um, at all. And we have to change the game. We have to bring quality back in the picture. We have to bring excellence back in the picture. Later for the goofies, later for the people pretending to be, you know, X, Y, and Z online and stuff like that. These squads, cliques, groups, and things like that is fun and it's cool, but it's not that thing. It's not that, you know. And I'm gonna give the last words. See if Emmy Cat has anything to say, because she is back. Emmy Cat, you have any final closing words or anything?
Oh, well, other than giving my gratitude to everybody that tuned in and also added to the conversation. I just wanted to say, just take that challenge. Sometimes it's good to take some time out, from all the noise, and then and gain the knowledge, and that's about it, really. Yeah. So do well for everybody that showed up, and on the group page, Seba University, on the website, if you had an idea for the next book club, just put it, post it on the group page that is attached to the book club as well on Seba University.
And up here, muted and talking to myself. Goodness gracious. So I apologize for that. Again, I want to say do out for everybody who's tuned in, this kind of laid back conversation that I've been having, just catching up. Um, and I will do this more often where, you know, open the panel up and give people opportunity to bring some things to the table to discuss, um, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever the case is. Because I don't give much time and attention to what I call the circus, goofy stuff and everything like that. I like to have fun and everything, but sometimes it gets overboard. I think a lot of people are pretending and playing games and just creating content for various different channels and things, which is their right to do. But when it comes to focused, quality, progressive work, I want to see more of that. So that's what I advocate and whatnot. I do appreciate anybody who keeps up with me and message me and stuff like that, especially if my name is mentioned somewhere outside of my presence, which I don't mind. As I said, I don't mind. Earlier I said I don't mind that, whether it's positive or negative. It will frustrate me when people are just wrong and don't quote me or misquote me or just lie, outright lie on things, especially if I'm not present. And I don't think anybody likes that. So, later for that. But yeah. Anyway, so want to say peace to everybody and look for the next conversation. And I know MK gave a challenge, and I think it's an excellent challenge. Actually, do that. And I'm not one to tell people what channels to watch or not watch. But whatever channel you watch on YouTube, whatever channel you follow, subscribe to, and you're drawn to, take up Emiket's recommendation by whatever made you curious about watching a channel, or whatever. Take time out to put in some work and study that particular topic. Take some time to do it, and then come back to the channel, and then listen again. And you're gonna find yourself. You can be like, wait a minute, hold up, you know. And that's a good challenge. That's a good thing to deal with, because you're gonna find out, you know, who's really doing what they supposed to be doing. If they're just chatting, just talking, just, you know, or whatever, or not. Anyway, so I'm gonna say Shalom Hotep, and peace to everybody.
You said that when you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You made wake up, your spirit wake up, and you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. When you study what we call classical studies, we must know Medew Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some heretic too. We need to know Medew Netcher. So the most achievement in Kemet for me is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.